The mentor's personal experience is just that. It's your experience. And what I mean with that is that it's not there to be imposed on your mentee. It's just to be there as a reference, maybe as a perspective, how things could be. Because your mentee's life may be totally different than yours. So you're not a teacher in a way, you're a counselor maybe, if that's for any word. You're not trying to create a second you. The mentee's experience is theirs, right? You shouldn't be judging what they have been doing. You can't say whether it's right or wrong. Your main attribute when you're looking at your mentee's experience is to be a very good listener.
Martin, you can see the show.
I can't think.
What should I say for you? Apart from the fact that you're a very good friend and mentor and collaborator and lots of other things, we are really, really proud to have you as a mentor from year 1 and year 2 as well. And your experience, I think this year you have your
45 years in the business.
Years of experience in the lighting industry. We are deeply honored to have you together with all the other mentors that we have on our list from year 1, year 2, year 3. As I love saying, once a mentor, always a mentor.
I think so, yeah.
The community that we are building globally. So I will pass the mic that you have already.
I think you can hear me with this, right?
Yes.
So, okay.
And I will give you 10 minutes with a timer, okay?
Well, I won't look there. I'm just gonna. All right, guys. I prepared a few notes. I wasn't really planning to speak, but when Katja asks something, you don't say no. So I was also even willing to prepare actual notes, but I thought maybe better if I do. So I wrote a few things, so you will see me sometimes looking at my notes. I take my glasses off and I can at least read. So what I would like to share with you is that she mentioned I've been in the business for 45 years. That means I have a lot of baggage. 45 years, well, longer, because I've been I've lived longer than the 45 years I've been in lighting design. So I thought first, let me share with you my private life experience, my business life experience, and then the evolution of technology over the years, because when I started, I didn't even have a computer, right? So I've gone through all that. So if I start with my private life experience, obviously, you know, you come from school. I graduated with a master's degree in industrial design, got a relationship and got married even before I got my first job, which was quite interesting. Then you have to, obviously, the choice of getting a job. Then we got children. My son is here. When you get children, you have to deal with going to school, whatever goes with the children. They can be sick. So these are all experiences that you unwillingly accumulate over time. Then I started to travel a lot. So you need to try and balance life, your private life with the traveling. I was then posted to Singapore, suddenly in a totally different culture. I had to deal with that as well, another experience. The toll of traveling and working was a toll that resulted in a divorce for me, unfortunately, but that's another experience that you carry with you, and then you have to rebuild your relationship. Now I'm reaching, well, would I say, the twilight of my career maybe. So you look at other things like, what am I going to do for the succession of my company? What am I going to do in the level of health and things like that? So these are all little things that you may not think of, but it's all part of the experience that you carry with you. If I look at my professional life, your first job, you know, you go for an interview and then you have to make a decision. Am I going to do this job, yes or no? You build that up. I started with Philips in Holland, and that was a very corporate environment. So you're dealing with the corporate ladder, how you know, dealing with promotions, and you have other people in the organizations that may be fighting for the same position higher up. So The company politics play a lot of importance. I was part of manufacturing development, so development of products. So I carried the experience of developing and designing products, marketing products. So all that is part of your luggage. Then at one point of time, I left the company and became an entrepreneur. I started my own business. I can't tell you how much stress that is. If you've been on a very comfortable corporate position with a very nice salary, suddenly you need to create income for yourself, look after your family. At that time I was in Singapore, the kids were at the American school, a lot of cost involved with those who have experience with kids going to international school. So there's a lot of pressure in terms of working and at the same time trying to find the balance in a new culture. It's not only the culture but also the things you eat, the people you meet. So there's a lot of things you learn by being overseas and all that. But you learn also the hard way that you may be a very good designer, but that doesn't make you necessarily a good businessman. And I went very close to bankruptcy in 1998 when the economy crashed, 97, 98 in Asia. I was really that close to bankruptcy, but I survived. I managed to rebuild the company where it is today. But that's all things that you carry with you, and I think it's a valuable experience when you mentor something, because you have gone through your private experiences, but also your business experiences. And over time, another thing that you learn is that you're building your reputation and integrity. Because I think one thing is important in our business is to build up your integrity, your reputation as a lighting designer, to be trustworthy and to be able to go to clients comfortably so that they can trust you as a lighting designer. So that's the experience that I carry with me as a mentor. And then in the background of that is the technological evaluation, or how that has processed. Because I can tell you 45 years ago when I started, we didn't have computers, we didn't have social media. I had to communicate with my wife by writing letters or sending postcards or the occasional phone call if I could. Today you just go on FaceTime and you have, 2 or 3 times a day you can have a quick video call. But you can imagine how that is quite difficult when you don't have these technologies at your disposal. I also went from having incandescent lights and fluorescent tubes, very simple tools to do lighting design, to what we have today. And if you just have to walk around here in Frankfurt at the Light and Build Fair to see how that has improved. The technology is mind-blowing, and I was saying that I feel overwhelmed at the moment because there's so many things to choose from. There's so much technology that comes our way that I feel quite honestly a bit overwhelmed with the things that we have for ourselves. The other thing that I carry with me is, because I run a company, I'm a company owner, I had to manage staff. You need to also be able to communicate with your staff, to communicate with the client. You have to make sure that every month you can pay the bills. So it's a pressure that you're not always being taught. Certainly not, I was never taught that. And that's how I nearly went into bankruptcy, because I wasn't prepared for things that happen when there's no money coming in. So that's the I would say the 3 layers of experiences that you carry with you. And for each of you may be different, but for me that's what carries in me in terms of when I'm a mentor. I had 2 mentors personally. I mean, yes, there are your usual well-known people that we know, the Nelson Mandelas, the Gandhis, the Elon Musk, and all these people. You can draw from them. But in my immediate environment, I had a very big mentor, which was my grandmother. And you say, why your grandmother? Well, she happened to be the first female French architect in France. And she was also somebody that had a passion for what she was doing, even in later life where she wasn't really practicing. and she couldn't care about what other people thought of her. She wanted to do something, she did it. And to me was something that I really took on board. She's also written many books, and as some of you may know, I write a lot, my blogs, and I write books as well. I may have gotten that from her. So she's been a great inspiration for me, even though she's passed away quite a while ago, but she's still in my mind very much. And the other one was my first boss when I was in Philips. He was all very down to earth, and he said sometime, Martin, don't get excited, don't answer difficult things straight away, just sleep on it. Tomorrow you'll have a different opinion of what's happening. So I thought that was also, I mean, it's just one quote from him, but he was very much instrumental in forming me as the person that I am today. Now, as to the mentor-mentee experience, I think you have to start with a very open mind. You really have to be there and expect the unexpected. You don't know. It's like, I don't know if you know the program Married at First Sight. It's a bit like that. You come together and you have no idea who that other person is. Yes, you have seen a video from her or from him. In my case, it was her. And you have some sort of expectations, but basically you should have no expectations until you really meet. I had two mentees. One most unexpected thing happened in my first year. When I first met her, she said she had quit lighting. So I was like, oh, okay, that's an interesting start. So I was starting to talk to her, you know, are you sure, this and that, but it's not my place. She wanted to do what she wanted to do. She wanted to go into teaching children and things like that. So we spent, I think, maybe 3 or 4 meetings talking about, I wanted to understand the background. But in the end, we came to a conclusion that there was no point in continuing. And now, this year, last year now, I had my second mentee, which was the total opposite. Committed to the bone, very dedicated, and an absolute joy to work with. She would send me minutes of meetings, and those people who work with me know that I like to make minutes from meetings. So she would do that. After our meeting, she would send me the minutes, and before the next meeting, she would give me her, like, the homework that she would have done. So that was an absolute joy. I haven't met her yet, can you believe it, after 1 year? But the good news is, tomorrow she'll be here, and tomorrow I will see her for the first time. Can we? Okay, now I want to close off with a number of what I call home truths. I don't know if you know Kevin MacLeod from Grand Designs, but he has a live show which he tours around the world. And I went recently to see him, really entertaining. And in his show, he has what he calls home truth, where he talks about behind the scenes things and things that happen that are not commonly seen on his TV program. So I'm going to share with you a number of home truths that I took away from being a mentor. The first thing is, the mentor's personal experience is just that. It's your experience. And what I mean with that is that it's not there to be imposed on your mentee. It's just to be there as a reference, maybe as a perspective, how things could be. Because your mentee's life may be totally different than yours. So you're not a teacher in a way, you're a counselor maybe, if that's for any word. And I know something about counseling because I went through a divorce, so I did counseling. So it is a bit that. You need to be a soundboard for that person and make sure that you're not trying to create a second you, right? You need to get that person to evaluate themselves. Likewise, the second one is the mentee's experience is theirs, right? You shouldn't be judging what they have been doing. You can't say whether it's right or wrong. Your main attribute when you're looking at your mentee's experience is to be a very good listener. You really need to be able to listen, not offer too many comments about what's right or wrong. You really need to listen and understand where they're coming from, because that's the only way you can communicate together. You need to validate what's right for them or what they feel they're at. But you can offer yourself as a soundboard and offer opinions, but not impose them. It's just as a reference to help. And the third one I would say is you need to create trust and respect between each other. Because one of the things that happen when you go into a mentor-mentee relationship, it is really a relationship. You open yourself up. You share with your mentee things that are private, and likewise the mentee also will share with you private things that you may not share in a business environment. Because if you don't understand the private background, it's sometimes difficult to offer support and direction. So it's really important to create this environment where people feel trusted and respected. And I think that's one of the key things that I found really important, is that your mentee feels comfortable when we communicate, and that you will, whatever is spoken between us is in a way a private conversation that's supposed to be between us, right? And in that way you can also help them to develop themselves, offer perspectives on how to find their way. So it's not about, so in a way you also avoid conflicts in that way, because if there's this trusted relationship, you're not going to go in an argument. You're there to find a solution, but you are not the decision maker. Your mentee will always be the one who decides where to go. I can't tell her what she wants or he wants, but I can offer direction and I can offer perspective. And I think that's the important part of a trusted and respected relationship. So basically it's about helping the mentee finding the missing links in their life and ways to create and achieve them. I think I'm roughly at time already. Okay. So just a quick one. I was also asked, how do you measure the success of a mentorship program? I would say 6 months is a bit short, to be honest. You can probably compare it with a project. Many of you are maybe line designers, I would imagine. So a project can be 2 years, 4 years. In 6 months, you've only done the concept design. And I feel that's very much where I'm at with my mentee. We had the initial briefs, we developed the concept, we're now in a design detailing. But I would love to go all the way till the end where we do the testing and commissioning and see whether we have achieved that to all satisfaction. Thank you very much.